Hello, friends, and welcome back to the LCS Challengers League Summer Promotion Tournament for the upcoming spring of 24. Sometimes it can get confusing, but one thing is straightforward. We have two teams about to go toe-to-toe for a best-of-3, as we just saw Winthrop topple Team Ambition 2-0 to move forward in our upper bracket. They have a best-of-3 going up against our Challengers team in Supernova later in the week, but now we have to see who gets to play that best-of-3 versus Team Fish Taco between these two squads, as we have Mirage Alliance and LiT Esports. Once again, Grapes, Elk Battery joining me. And Grapes, I know we're excited to see this one. Many people calling Mirage Alliance the top team that we have from OQs, maybe even in this tournament as a whole. We're going to start with the challengers in LiT Esports.
Yeah, I'm glad we get to talk about LiT Esports first before we move on to our next team, because they have a very interesting story. A lot of their players have been on very interesting journeys throughout 2023. We have the top side of Dragoon and Kisno, who promoted into the NACL with Supernova in the last split. Messages as well got an opportunity with the Last Dance, and a new bot lane looking to make some waves as well.
Oh yeah, this is a completely different roster. If you even started at the beginning of Summer 1, people had very big ambitions for them. We were praising them for keeping their bottom lane. That has obviously changed. As you can see, no longer Sajid and Chaye of the last iteration. We have Rockboom and Plux. Plux actually making a return and is kind of being a very big substitute for this roster. While Rockboom coming in, I mean, he was already a great player coming over from the Saints over in Canada for their collegiate team and on other rosters like Aporia. So I'm excited to see what we get from these two, as specifically Rockboom has been a very, very promising AD carry.
Yeah, some of that I was actually impressed with St. Clair. I covered a LAN where they took on Maryville. I know he's grown a lot. Even Shogo's talked about how he's worked with him and some of the other collegiate ADs. Excited to see how he can perform today, because he's going to have his hands full, as Neo is a tough one. But hey, before we do that, I know it was mentioned that we actually had Dragoon and Kisno qualify under the Supernova banner last spring, and I gotta say, Dragoon gave one of the coolest moments I've seen in amateur in a long time. So cool, and we're just gonna have to run it again, as here was Dragoon after qualifying with Supernova last split.
It's so there's so much emotion coming out of me right now. Like, it feels unreal. It doesn't feel like it's actually set in, but like I know it's reality, right? Like we are in NACL. Like, as soon as the game ended, like it's. I just have so much emotion. Like this entire interview, I'm not gonna be able to talk properly. I'm just apologizing in advance.
You're fine.
I'm gonna have like that clip of us promoting an NACL like my entire life. Like, I will have that saved. I'll be 50 years old looking at this moment. Like, if you really think about it, it's crazy. The emotions the entire team had at the end of that game was just, it was unparalleled to anything in my life before. Like, everyone's just saying I love you to each other for like 20 seconds straight. Like, we were just yelling. It was amazing.
I always love that moment from Dragoon, and I honestly hope we get to, see that again, as Dragoon, I gotta say, when he qualified with Supernova, they were the lowest seed in that tournament. He was able to make it in the same position here again with LiT Esports Elk Battery.
I was gonna say, we had that huge graphic of all of us like saying, hey, how confident are we in this team's ability to actually move up? And everybody was pretty low at Supernova, so the fact that we got to see that was pretty impressive nonetheless.
Yeah. It was, but on the other side, LiT Esports, this is a team that has had a lot of changes of their own throughout the split. As guys, OQs sometimes get a little bit wild, and that we definitely saw that here with LiT.
Oh. Yeah, this was a really promising roster in the spring split. This is a new organization coming into Tier 3. A lot of players that haven't had that full shot to really make it, and specifically their bot lane, Sajid and Chai, impressed a little bit in that spring split. Unfortunately, even though they're the lone pieces that stuck around going into summer with a really strong top side coming in, they haven't been able to keep it together. They have some new pieces coming in, so in a way, this team is fully different than what we originally saw them when their roster first got announced.
This was a very big change, right? Like, when we saw these changes, it was Chaye coming in, they were playing, and then right before the Swiss, we see Plux get subbed in. So it was a very big change for this roster. I know talking with them, they always talk about, hey, Dragoon has been a vocal leader for us, but we talked about, hey, how important having a duo come in from spring, being able to play with each other. Sajid, from all the tryouts at the beginning of the year, was one of the most promising marksmen that we had, that a lot of teams were kind of clamoring for. So I'm excited to see what we get now that Rockboom and Plux have kind of stepped in and they've had time to play.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going to be put to the test yet again. Got to bring it up as, guys, we have Mirage Alliance on the other side. We have names that competed in the OG NACL. When you could actually promote into LCS, man.
Challenger Series, man.
Yeah, the old school Challenger Series, as we've got Alorum, Chad, Dardoch, a lot of folks trying to make their way back through the climb. As I know Alorum, I want to say somewhat infamously said at one point, I'm okay with being the gatekeeper. And it feels like Mirage Alliance get to kind of be that again, as they're going to try and qualify for Challengers League here.
They're not just gatekeeping, they're straight up kick teams out at this point. Like, I'm fully on board with the fact that Mirage Alliance can do it, that they can make the run. They've been almost undefeated in the second qualifier. They had a bit of an oopsie in the first qualifier following in the semifinals, but they feel like they're all steam ahead and ready to go.
4 of their 5 players have played on the LCS stage at some point. The other one, Sudsy, just promoted into the NACL last split, and as we see here, even though it was a little bit shaky start in the first qualifier, they really came alive in qualifier 2.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see if Sudsy can do a little bit better than Snow and Levitate, his teammates from that first OQ from that last matchup. But he has been rather impressive here with Mirage Alliance. As I know, Sudsy is someone that I've actually always thought pretty highly of when it comes to amateur play, and was really excited to see him get promoted last split. Unfortunate I didn't get to see him compete, but looking forward to seeing how he can do in this OQ. As it's definitely someone that I would say has really grown his champion pool of late, Elk.
Yes, for sure. I remember speaking with him during the grand finals over in spring. He was like, the biggest change for me, because I always thought of him as a mercenary, someone that kind of jumped around a couple teams that really needed a strong mid laner. And he said, I have played a lot less for myself, a lot less playing for my own advantages and just slamming my team like, hey, we need to play all together. And that has been a very big point for them, as Chad has spoken so many times of how much this team plays around him.
Yeah, but speaking of champion pools and some things we talked about earlier, Grapes, I'm going to need you to walk me through this one because I'm looking at it on my screen. You guys are about to see it. Grapes, what is going on here?
Well, we need to focus on the top lane a little bit here in this matchup, Covey. It's Dragoon, Alorum. We've mentioned time and time again, Alorum's kind of like that gatekeeper into tier 2 sometimes. Like if you need you kind of got to pass here in order to promote in. Dragoon, shockingly, and LiT have not played against Mirage Alliance this entire summer split.
Wow.
However, the last time that they did actually play was back in spring, where Dragoon on Supernova took down Team Fish Taco with Alorum on that. Aside from that one best of one that happened in Swiss, these two players haven't really gotten to duke it out yet, and I'm excited to see it here today.
Yeah, I know Dragoon loves to play some of the champions that do counter the tanks that Alorum is so damn good at. Definitely going to be curious to see how that interaction works. But guys, I got to say, we're ready for draft in this one, and I want to get right into it because I'm staying with you guys, actually. We're going to talk through this draft, see what's up here, as we got Mirage Alliance on the red side, I should say, LiT on the blue side, diving right into it. And what do you guys expect to see here? I very much am expecting to see Alorum blind pick something and open things up for his teammates later on.
Poppy is such a big pick for this team. It is Alorum's most played. It is also something that we have seen Chad pick up time and time again. We'll say not this summer so far. It was something that we saw in times past, but so far Alorum has been the one that, hey, I'm going to take this. Same thing with the Maokai, actually, something that they can also flex. So Dragoon's going to have to really dig deep, and he has pulled out a litany of different champions so far.
And the interesting thing about Mirage Alliance is, even though we think of Alorum as this weak side tank player, like there's also opportunities for him to carry if he gets the right opportunity. I think champions like the Urgot have been really important to his pool across recent years and recent splits. And all 4 of these players on Mirage definitely capable of 1v9ing. As you see in the first ban phase right now, that Kha'Zix for Chad already taken away. They do not want to give that over to one of the best junglers that we saw in tier 3.
Yeah, assassin focus from LiT too, maybe looking to slow the game down a little bit by taking some of those picks away from Mirage Alliance as Rel. Again, very much flexed throughout a draft on the red side and has been one of the bigger picks for Dardoch, who of course in that support role has been very much more on the engage focus. That is where the meta's at right now, but I know that when the meta swapped, we did see some growth from Dardoch with how he's able to play these engagers.
Yeah, we saw him actually last split in spring almost qualify on Team Fish Taco. He was playing jungle at that point. A first pick Azir for messages, who if you saw our Baldur's Gate 3 intro, he's saying, I'm going to slam everybody in the laning phase. Azir can do some of that. I don't know, we're maybe looking at level 6 as a potential there, but
It's a bit of a deny from Sudsy, as that was a really big pick for him, especially in the first OQ in that spring promotion tournament, as he was really the one mid laner pulling out a 0 when he was like just post rework. And now I'm really curious to see this because the Poppy's flexible between Alorum and Shad, but also that Ziggs is flexible too, as it's a good matchup into a 0, but of course can go in the hands of Neobot if Mirage Alliance want to play around with that as well.
There's a reason why every single marksman in the qualifiers talks about Neo. I think it's only right to do so, as he has just been by and far away not only the best marksman, but also one of the best players we have in that tournament, bar none. He has been so incredible. I have not seen a game where I've said, all right, Neo, you misplayed that. It has been almost perfect from him, and as well as opening up a lot of different angles. There's been Ziggs, we've gotten Seraphine from him as well. These are so many different kind of styles that we're getting from Neo that really open up Mirage Alliance.
Yeah, I mean, even though he's the best, one of the best players, I'm going to say the best player that we have coming out of NACLQ, he's like not on a main carry, and that's fine for Mirage, because almost all the time we see the Ziggs go down there. But we got to talk about what LiT have, because they have been cooking in this first phase.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know if LiT thinks the Ziggs is going mid. Because now if you're Mirage, you can take Marksman here and save support for 5-pick and completely counter a Vayne lane. So this is a very aggressive pick from Rockboom. I think showing this early, you have some value in the Poppy. You can get around Ziggs, but yeah, that Ziggs is going mid, man. I don't know what else to say.
That's
turns
very
out flex picks are good.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time it's been Neo playing the Ziggs, so I understand why LiT have made that decision, but it's Neo, man. He can play anything.
When I think of Neo, though, I think of Kalista, I think of Draven. I think of some of the early aggression that Neo has, so this for me is something that already, I think, is playing into the Mirage's hands. I really like the Braum pick. I think that as long as they deny this 5-stack from LiT and deny some of the things that can buff up the Vayne, things are going to be okay for Mirage Alliance. I think a big prio might see some focus on the Nautilus. Synergizes really well with everything that Mirage Alliance wants to do, and also LiT, they can't really play an Enchantress if you are going to play something like a Nautilus. Paired up with the Vayne, or the Draven, I should say, into Vayne. So curious to see where this one leads us. As jungle focus, it looks like they think that Poppy could be going top. Going to take away some of the bad matchups from Volibear.
Almost got the full litany of actual roles here. Cubby, we've got you on support here. So what are your thoughts? I mean, we talked already about we're getting rid of Braum. Nautilus is something that we're kind of highly prioritizing. Melio got some strange buffs on the patch. I don't think they're going to be as impactful, but I think in this circumstance for LiT, I don't hate it. His movement speed, it's denial against a lot of the engage there, and if we're talking about crowd control, if we're talking about specifically a Nautilus, a lot of things that a Breath of Life could do.
That is true. I definitely think that with LiT, at least, they're accepting that they have to play for the team fight, because Draven's going to win the bot lane. Ziggs most likely going to win mid too. You lose push first couple levels, but then once Ziggs gets the lost chapter, he just perma shoves, and Azir is really forced to catch all the waves under his turret. So I think LiT has to just find whatever pieces they can to actually build a team fight, as continuing to take away jungler is going to take away the Jarvan from Shad as well. Jarvan's a weird ban to me, because both Vayne and Azir can get out of it.
Okay, we're giving it over to potentially jungle here. I think this is going to have to be Chad's last pick, and we're looking at what he could go, and we're talking about the Ziggs going into mid. It's probably going to have to be an AD choice here. Chad, I mean, the Jarvan's already been taken away, right? We're talking about the Kha'Zix already being gone. I think Diego is potentially what he's looking for next as an option to get onto them.
Okay.
There we go.
It's time.
I mean, you got to do it at this point, right? I mean, I was hearing some, I got to talk to Dragoon yesterday on our podcast that got released today. He was saying there was going to be some spice thrown into the top lane against Alorum. He was going to try his best to pull out the right counter matchup. And Poppy into Darius pretty much wins that one every single time. So not surprised to see him slam it here in game 1.
It interacts well with a Draven, but it's so tough to get through Ziggs if you are Darius. So again, really puts you on a timer. As boy, we have a Taric being taken.
What is going on?
Okay,
so Taric plus Volibear is fun. You can run. Right. You can run fast.
Dive top 8 minutes. That's the goal, guys. We're just gonna send everybody there. That's how it works.
It's
Nico
top.
top
lane. All right. Well, LiT have always been ones to try to cook, but it seems like Alorum has dove deep. He has said, finally, look, Chad, you're going to finally play Poppy this split. You're going to be stuck on this duty. Give me the on hit. It was on the graphic we made, Grapes. this is going to be a very wacky game.
This guy loves.
I think it's all about laning phase for Mirage Alliance. They have to get ahead of lane because I mean if they're like 20 minutes even footing, their comp's good, but it's gonna be really, really, really hard for them to get there. So all eyes on Kisno. See what we can do with this Bear. Bear is really strong in the first few clears, so maybe. Those are my thoughts, guys. That's gonna be it for me. But hey, with that said, I'm gonna leave it to Grapes and Elk in the 2-box here. Best of luck with this upcoming match. We'll see if LiT can survive early.
Thank you very much, Covey. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on here in the draft because there's a lot of things that we have to talk about as we head into game. There's the on-hit Nico. There's the Darius for Dragoon. Remember there's a Vayne in this game as well?
Yeah.
That's going to be something we got to talk about. We're on to the Rift. LiT Esports versus Mirage Alliance. Let's take it away.
All right, well, we get to take a look at what's going on for LiT here, as I love that Cubby described it as it's going to be a fun game between these two.
Yeah, and even though this may seem like a big matchup gap on paper, LiT's not afraid of taking on Mirage Alliance in round 1. Here's what Messages had to say about its opponents today.
For Mirage, yeah, we never played them in a best of 3. We played them one game on our in OQs, the Swiss bracket, and that game went very close. It went to 40 minutes, and it was just a team fight that Sajid didn't flash, or else we probably would have won that game. So I think now that we are playing against them in a best of 3, I think we should be able to at least go to game 3 with them. I mean, if you look at our matchups, there's not a lot of diff like the rest of the players. There's not a single player on Mirage that is like super over the other players. So I think it's going to be a lot closer than people expect.
Fair enough, man. Look, LiT have been doubted, I think, every single point of the way. In spring, we saw their roster, didn't know how far this roster was going to be able to go, but he looked good there. And so far, I mean, they've made it to the promotion tournament. They were almost unable to if Pojify had won that grand finals in summer.
We got to take a look here at the jungle to start things off, as Chad is level 1 invading onto the enemy blue buff. Kisno now has a level advantage. A very interesting decision. The flip goes Chad's way, as Kisno was 19 HP early on that smite, and now Chad can continue to invade onto the Gromp. I mean, this is going to get ugly.
I get why he's doing this, right? He knows that he has an early advantage. It is press the attack for Kisno, so if the fight does go a little bit extended, he can't get damage, but he knows he has priority from his top laner, that Dragoon can't move, and you already see Ziggs already has priority up in the top lane, so great job for Mirage Alliance to play around this, and this has been the style for Mirage Alliance the entire series, or the entirety of summer.
He's still going underneath into the enemy base almost. Chad does not care about the camps. He just wants to get Kisno out of that top side, and it looks like that Gromp will belong to him. You know, Messages said, hey, we think that we match up well with Mirage top to bottom. It seems like Mirage doesn't think so because they are playing incredibly confidently.
Kisno only lost that because he's not subbed to Challengers League. I can't confirm that, but if he had the sub, he would have gotten it. He would have had the emotes. He could have emote spammed versus Chad. He could have used like the Yumi stare emote. That's literally the best emote that's been on this channel. So, but if you know, you could be a winner. You could just go ahead and do that. For Mirage Alliance, though, it opens up so much for this top side. We talked about how we wanted to see maybe Dragoon do a little bit more up here, but this is going to be that on-hit Nico. This is not the traditional AP, so Pop Blossom is still an incredible ultimate, the game changer, but we're going to see what he can do on the side lane, whereas Dragoon, I think, probably is going to be forced to move into the team fights. We'll see what he's able to do, and hey, if he gets popped off, is he able to find one reset? Mirage Alliance do not handle him very well.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup here though in the early game for Dragoon. Like, honestly, when I think of things in my head that like Alora might pick an 80 Nico into, Darius is like very high up on that list, and so we'll see how much he can survive in that laning phase. Speaking of laning phase, Dardoch goes aggressive. Actually has to burn that flash as Kisno shows up at just the right time.
Look where Chad is. They're trying to get this wave under the turret. Dragoon pops the ghost, gets the flash.
Summoner followed. One more auto attack might be it. There's the bleed, first blood for Dragoon.
All right, we said, hey, maybe this laning phase was going to be a bit difficult. But Dragoon says, I've qualified once. I'm going to try and do it again. That would feel really good to be able to hit him with a 2-peat here. Mirage Alliance, though, so have a bit of a goal lead, and a lot of this is coming from the other side of the map. Sudsy has a bit of a CS lead. We're talking about bot lane as well. Neo about to wave up on his opponent. He's going to recall, try to pick up some items, and we haven't seen a lot of action outside of what we got from our junglers in this top side of the map, but we have to expect with a Draven, with a Nautilus, there's going to be something going on. Let's take a look as to what happened here.
Yeah,
all right.
Just the edge of the apprehend right there. This is the one time where Dragoon can kill Lorem. If you land that E, you have both your summoners. Might be a little bit hard after that, but Dragoon's got to make him pay.
He also chose right, and maybe kind of looking at some of those APA VODs, he's like, okay, which one of these clothes is real? And it does have the bleed stack, so it's pretty obvious, and it's one kind of frock. The thing I will say for Lorem that has been true almost his entire career has been, hey, we're going to put you on tanks. We're going to put you on engage. Nico is definitely a kind of out there pick, but he's always so relevant when it comes to team fights. So early laning phase may not be his strength, but is always when we get later into the game that we start to see Lorem rise.
Another nice play by LiT as Kisno and Plux joined in the mid lane to force a flash out of Sudsy. So early on, Mirage Alliance have a lead just due to their CS advantages, but LiT not afraid to make plays. Maybe Message is a little bit too brave right now. As the Mega Inferno Bomb comes out, Sudsy has the ult advantage and makes him pay.
Well, look at that. It opens up the mid lane now. Going to force Messages to teleport back in. W, we were talking about during the draft, we've got the Lost Chapters. Ziggs is just throwing bombs down range and making Message's life a living hell at this point as Mirage now get themselves a first dragon. It's 2 minutes before that Herald is able to spawn. So I want to see what they'll be able to do to influence the other side of the map. Sudsy going to take his recall. He's going to be able to get back in. Probably won't use the teleport if he doesn't need to. And they can look to try to whittle away at this bottom lane soon.
Looks like LiT continuing to try and find a pick onto Neo. Kisno is around. Remember that Dardoch doesn't have flash. The Draven still does. They're going to make that play once again. The target right now will be the Nautilus, and Dardoch will die for his 80 carry. Rockboom going to get the kill. That's a big one for LiT.
Okay, and like you said, no flashes burned there by LiT Esports. So that is something that they can use to probably potentially move in. And if you're trying to avoid the Draven lane, that's awesome.
Oh, Messages hits level 6 at just the right time. Sudsy gonna get caught out by Kisno, who's had a great early game so far. It's 3-0 to LiT Esports as our underdogs are putting up a big fight.
All right, 1,000 gold as well. LiT Esports are putting in that work. Important there for Mirage is that Draven does not fall, and that's something that they can look for if they're able to find another kill. If Neo are able to even get one for the team, that's a shutdown that's going to happen for them. But as time goes on, remember, we're talking about how LiT going into team fights should be advantage. We haven't seen Kisno really be able to activate a lot of the other lanes, but he's doing well so far. He's going to get that level 6 soon, and Sudsy doesn't have flash. They know that they can get that out of bot lane soon as well. Have to be looking for a dive.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of LiT Esports members making their way towards the top side as Dragoon is up in levels right now, but still, you know, gets zoned out by the AD Nico. The Ghost is back up, which could be an interesting caveat to the situation. But Mirage Alliance really want to fight around this Herald. Kisno will get the blue buff this time, but Chad continuing his aggression in the enemy jungle.
This is a ramification of that early game. Oh my god, Plux. Probably just gonna have
okay,
to
for
flash.
now. Yeah, Rockboom pops the final hour. They're looking to fight once again. Dardoch very, very vulnerable right now. Neo gonna get stunned up with a dazzle as well. This could be a 2v2 kill. Rockboom flashes away from the stand beside and picks up the kill in the 2v2. Dardoch flashes away. One more Silver Bolts might have done the job, but it's a win for LiT regardless.
For Mirage, they moved into that top side. They had the timer on the blue buff on all of his camps, so I love the invade, but it means that your bottom side does have to play a little bit safe, and Neo gets punished there, uses his flash, loses those stacks as well, so now LiT are feeling really, really confident. You have a 2-0 Vayne, and we get to talk a little bit about Rockboom, who, hey, he made it onto that rock bottom esports roster that made it to grand finals as a second qualifier of spring. They lost to Maryville, who go on to qualify for the LCS Challengers League. But Rockboom, they basically input a whole new rule for them, the Cinderella run, where if you make grand finals, you get the highest seed possible. Rockboom, he moves onto this roster after Sajid takes a leave, and we had questions. We had questions whether or not this team was going to be able to perform here. And it is early on. There's still a lot of game to play here. But if Rockboom is able to do that, is able to show up, he has now proven on 2 different rosters that hey, maybe he is a one of those prospects you have to be looking forward towards.
And the biggest thing in terms of questions that we had for LiT was not the strength of their roster, because you look top to bottom. We have Rockboom, who really had a great spring split, Messages as well, and then 2 players who promoted into the NACL. The problem was they haven't had a ton of time to play together.
Yes.
We saw in their quarterfinal matchup against Winthrop, it was incredibly sloppy, even because it was just that first week of all 5 playing as a unit. But again, something that we kept talking about. How did these teams approach this 2-week break? It seems like LiT have really done their homework and are up 4-0 in this game.
They've been one of our most innovative teams. We always talk about how, hey, you have Mirage Alliance, Olorma is always going to pick up something wacky, and sometimes Chad will bring out like a Rengar or even play some of his, what is it, the Karthus. There we go.
Yep.
But you look across the board to their opponents, and I think Kisno has really stuck to a lot of the champions that he has felt most comfortable on. A lot of them, the Jin Zhao as well, the Viego being very big picks for him in spring. Now he's sticking towards the Volley Bear. They have level 6 here. They can play this.
He's going to be here by the time that ulti expires from Plux. So Rockboom may have a no opportunity to make a play, but Chad with a big Keeper's Verdict. And Rockboom gets knocked up. Neo trying to shut him down, but does not land that final auto attack. Stormbringer will bring Kisno to safety as nobody will fall in the engage.
Chad with a really good W, as well as you were talking about that Keeper's Verdict, keeps them out of the fight. 20 seconds before this Dragon, they have a health advantage. It should be their objective to take. Alorum, maybe he's hitting the Dragoon clone. Maybe Dragoon's actually the one playing Nico at this point. That one, look, everybody has those days. Everyone makes mistakes, okay? So it happens.
And now allows for Dragoon to go aggressive because he knows he can't get stopped by that Pop Blossom. I mean, the AD Nico, always a really interesting thing to take a look at. You use the Pop Blossom a lot of the time more of like as a peeling tool, and we saw that right there. Dragoon wasn't able to continue that push, but now with both top laners having Flash, Alorum with the TP advantage, it'll be Mirage Alliance heading to pick up their second Drake.
And Chad actually, by foregoing his boots, is able to have an Even Shroud very early on into the game. So doing well for himself as this tank jungler. He's only going to get tankier and tankier, recognizing that his team does enough damage. He doesn't need to add more. He just needs to be that front line for the squad. And by having that, we're already seeing how he can influence some of these maps, getting very close to killing that bottom lane. You see they're setting up for the dive. Rockboom and Plux, they're getting back into this position. They're getting plates now for this Draven. Still haven't seen the cash out. Remember, he lost so many stacks because of that first death, but there is always an opportunity, especially for a Draven, to be able to have a big mid-game spike.
That's the first turret. I mean, despite the 2 kills going towards Rockboom, I think Neo might be ahead in the gold department right now. Hard to say for sure, but yeah, take a look at that. Still about 600 in the lead, so might have died, but still has the opportunity to cash out and in a very good spot in this bottom lane.
Oh my god, Kisno's crossing the river. I didn't think I would see that today. He's just moving on. He wants to take camps. Saying, Chad, that's enough. I'm not gonna handle this anymore, okay? You have the timer on my blue buff. I'm gonna at least steal some chicken nuggets away from you. I'm gonna make sure that I'm getting something on the return there. As you take a look at that gold, Neo has a lot of it, but the 2 carries here for LiT, Rockboom and Messages, not that far behind. Gonna be a lot more relevant. Really wanted to see what we could get from Sudsy, who, hey, he's still playing Ziggs. He is still a little bit ahead of his opponent. Should be even with the kill.
Oh, Rockboom and Alorum going at it. Pop Blossom already gets thrown out. Rockboom dashes away from the Whirling Death, but Dardoch has arrived. Just a numbers advantage just for a little bit in favor of Mirage Alliance. But Messages is on the way. Here comes the Mega Inferno Bomb, and it will be helped to shut down Rockboom. The first kill goes for Mirage in this game, and they're looking for more. Plux already flashes a nice dredge line out of Dardoch, and they're going to not give the cash in as Sudsy says, that's mine, man.
Knowing these guys and knowing their comms, they're like, Neo, you're being punished. We're going to just take away the fact. This is what you get when you die first in a kill. Just take it away. We've seen so many of their comms on Twitter. A great job from LiT, or from the side of Mirage Alliance, to open up their bottom side. You saw this teleport. Great job. I mean, the fact that Rockboom is this far up is something that they can punish. Dardoch is already on the way, and unfortunately, this takes away their ability to actually play around this. Now, Alorum by himself gets the teleport out from the Azir, but I mean, look at how many kills, look at how far behind Rockboom is going to get after this play.
I love how there are so many different opportunities for Neo to cash out there, and they just said, nah, we're good. We're going to give it to our other guys instead. That's how they play. I mean, as you said, the comms get a little wild. I don't know if we can repeat some of what they said.
Oh, definitely not.
Right,
we were getting fined if we pulled those up. But they definitely have a lot of fun. That is the big thing, especially for Sudsy, who has stated multiple times, like, hey, like, these are a really good group of guys, but I'm having a lot of fun with them as well. That is the best part. Chad?
Yeah, maybe a little too much fun there, Chad. Rockboom picks up a kill right before their second Rift Herald spawns. Dragoon forces the flash out of Neo, and now a good opportunity for LiT. That's just scoop Stardock over the wall. Might have given him a little bit of extra time to breathe, but the kill will go to Dragoon as LiT Esports once again capitalize.
So now the issue here for Mirage is they have this Ziggs. Ziggs, always known to be a big demolitionist. He wants to be the ones that are taking down turrets, but he is not in a great spot, and the only person who's been able to do relevant turret damage is this NACL, who have set up as a split pusher, but the rest of the map is just not quite there. They're losing access to the top side. You have Herald spawning in about 45 seconds here. That is something that they need to be on top of and paying attention to, as this Herald should have been Mirage Alliance's way of opening up the map and forcing LiT into awkward positions.
And instead, it will be LiT Esports hovering around the objective. It looks like they're in a good position to take it down. However, Chad has respawned, and the rest of Mirage Alliance may be looking for a turn. Rockboom and Kizno are outmatched at the moment, but
Plux.
they don't know that Plux is here. They knock back Kizno with the Keeper's Verdict. Dredgeline misses on the Plux, and now Messi just has a ride with Dragoon on the flank. This is a huge fight for LiT. One smackdown will get one kill for Sudsy, and they drag Chad right back to the grave as it's 8-2 in favor of our number 6 seed.
I was worried a little bit there as Plux was by himself, and as a Taric, that's never what you want to do, but they do not collapse in time. Mirage, they took it too long to pull the trigger on a fight. There's no Pop Blossom. Alorum is not in position to start up a fight for the team, and it ends up being a few more kills over to LiT. It turns into a Rift Herald as well. Now they're going to be able to knock down turrets 30 seconds before Dragon. They can easily redeploy back out on the map as 5 and look to try to take control of this game. Mirage Alliance, it's no longer an excuse. It's not 10 a.m., so they don't have they can't beat the EP allegations.
They're
not
wide
gonna
awake.
be able to kind of blame anything else. They've had time to prep for this. It is only one game, but LiT have always shown up to surprise.
And let's go back to when we were talking about the draft, how these two teams picked their compositions. I think Cubby was the one who said that Mirage Alliance really need to get ahead in the laning phase. They were banking on the fact that their 5 players were stronger than LiT's 5 players. That's a strategy they've gone with the entirety of the second qualifier, and it worked for them until now. LiT, again, never got to match up against Mirage, and they're making them pay right now. Dragon available. LiT going to try to deny that soul point as they send Shelly into the mid lane. Not over just yet here, but a very, very good start for LiT.
Alorum is like, guys, I'm hitting turret. That's it. He's
That's
hitting
what you
turret.
do.
The Dragon is going over. Mirage Alliance have fought their way out of worse positions, as the game is only about 1,000 gold ahead. And remember, Neo still has a lot of stacks. He's been stacking up. He was not able to cash out on that bottom side play.
Oh, the flash! The dunk! Dragoon smash once again. Second split in a row. Dragoon just popping off here in the top lane.
There, all of that pressure that Mirage Alliance were trying to play around, there's nothing that happened in bottom lane. Top lane is becoming harder and harder for Alarm to actually deal with Dragoon, who it seems like either that's Asterix or he is just straight up going for that hull breaker, and he is going to be a menace to deal with. LiT here. It's so funny when we talk about this team because like they've been the ones to pull out the Nasus, the Garen. Dragoon has even gotten an Alawi game here. They're always kind of the mad chefs. They're going to be cooking a little bit. And Rockboom feels like he's slotted in perfectly with a team to play around bottom lane.
Might have gotten caught out here. The Whirling Death comes out. Can the Taric ultimate finish it off? No! Shutdown going over to Chad. That is a big chunk of gold going over the Mirage Alliance jungler as they find some respite here in this game. That's a big death.
That's not for Neo. Maybe I'm just biased.
It's okay.
Look, I'm an
It's
AD carry player, but we set so many expectations, and yes, Chad is able to get that, but he's a tank. He is playing Poppy, who should have some influence on fights, but you really wanted to see it on one of those carries. Even, hell, I'll take it on Sudsy at this point, who is a little bit behind, but maybe after a second item here, what looks to be a Shadow Flame, he will do a lot of damage, especially as this Ziggs.
Play in the mid lane. Nice
wait a
drag
minute.
back here. Sudsy gets scooped underneath. Message is just with a solo kill. Which team was the one that dominated the OQs, Dimitri? I think I'm a little confused right now.
I think it might be LiT, guys. You know, I guess the qualifiers, you know, playoffs just don't matter, boys. We're just here for a promotion tournament anyway. Everyone's playing really well. We've talked about every single one of them now. And hey, look, it's the first game, right? You can always throw a strong punch. We need to see how LiT can close this out with a lead like this. 19 minutes, it's 2,000 gold. That is in most games, you're going to just say, hey, that's fine. We can play with that. And Mirage Alliance, they're going to have to get creative with their problem solving. We need to see Alorum on deep flanks. We need to start to see Neo pick up a kill. Guys, we need to start giving them over.
Yeah. To be fair, we have seen Mirage Alliance in situations like this throughout the summer split. Maybe it's not just the 10 AM. Maybe it's just the first game of the day nerf that happens sometimes. But from what we were able to tell out of summer, even though there are teams like Return to the Middle Sticks or CV Gaming that would take Mirage really deep into a deficit, they'd always find some way to claw back, and that is what we have praised about them so far. The players top to bottom are super skilled. I don't know, man. I don't know. They're gonna have to prove me wrong again and do it here, because LiT are putting up a tremendous start to this game.
Message just said it in the interview, right? He's like, we played them in the Swiss stage of one of the qualifiers. We got really far into a game. There's one team fight, and that's usually the case for Mirage Alliance. See how they're able to claw their way back into this game. Baron is already up. You have a minute and a half before the Dragon. Soul doesn't look like it's going to be a relevant condition in this game, at least for the next 5 or so minutes. And Alorum slowly starting to build up a wave in the bottom lane. LiT, you look at the items already completed. Rockboom now on 2. You already have Messages, who's picked up his second item. So these two are going to be so impactful when we're talking about fights. Looking at Mirage, a lot of that poke, Sudsy is going to have to step up if he's going to want Neo to pick up a shutdown.
Oh, man, it's so... I mean, there's essentially 380 carries on Mirage Alliance's side. If Dragoon finds a flank, if Dragoon finds their angle in a fight, like, it's over at that point. Like, it's just a pentakill into Baron, into end the game, into who knows what more after that. It's like very, very scary in terms of the way the competitions have set up. LiT Esports, they did what their job was, just survive the laning phase, come out a little bit ahead.
Which is win. Winning
yeah,
is pretty good.
I favor their competition at this point.
Yeah, and I do also want to say that LiT are doing a really good job of controlling vision. You already see, thanks to our observers for toggling it, there are just really creative wards that Mirage are not clearing out, which, like we said, hey, if we want to see a flank, that is something that they're going to have to look for. Okay, they're starting up this Baron. Dragoon is on vision. They're calling over Alorum, so that's automatically a win. They've gotten Alorum out of the side lane, and they've gotten his teleport. They can even try to look for an engage. It's 20 seconds before the Dragon. They'd have to be careful. If they commit too many members for this Dragon, Mirage can start up the Baron and look to take it.
They still have Ziggs, they have Draven. Those are two champions that can definitely burst down Baron if given the opportunity. The drag spawns in 8 seconds. LiT Esports have firm control around the pit. Do Mirage even want to go for this fight is the question. I mean, I would say maybe wait it out, go for Baron. It seems like that is what they will do. LiT Esports going to even up the Dragon counter too.
Just catching waves right now. I'm going to assume this is for Neo to actually finish a couple more items. We already see that Sudsy moving over to the top side. He's going to pick up this wave. Right now, LiT, they're in a bit of a, I will say they're getting a little like, hey, we're slowing down the game. We're picking up gold. The gold lead has not expanded in a meaningful manner in a couple of minutes. So it is giving time for Mirage to breathe, to pick up items. It's a Rage Blade now here for Alorum. And Neo getting very close to what is either an LTR or getting close to, I mean, Collector's just no review. This is just an LTR every single time.
Yeah.
To be able to punch through someone like Plux or Kissno on this Volibear.
Back to the Baron, LiT Esports go. Mirage Alliance, I'm sure they know that this is happening right now. They're sending everybody here. Sudsy has teleport, Alorum does not. He is stuck in the bottom lane. It will be a numbers advantage for LiT if they go for the flip. A huge chunk of damage from Messages. The Mega Inferno Bomb will come out and chunk some members of LiT. They knock away one with the Keeper's Verdict, but the Baron is still at 2,000 HP. Messages to Dragoon, dashing it onto the front line. Here comes Chad. Here comes the flip, but it will not happen as Rockboom will shut him down. Dragoon just straight up 1v5ing at this point as Alorum has finally arrived to the fight. 2 members from LiT are dead, and the third will fall as Plux goes down. But the Turo Baron buff belongs to LiT.
Okay, they got everything there. It is a Turo Baron buff for the side of LiT. We can take a look at the replay as to what happened. This fight was incredibly sloppy. Let's just call it how it is at this point. Neo tanking damage from Azir, not the best situation. A good Ziggs bomb, he just does not do enough damage. And Neo is free firing. Vayne is nowhere near this objective. I was worried, can Chad get into the pit?
What a condemn.
Fantastic job coming out from everybody on LiT Esports. Dragoon sitting in a 1v5. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. He gets the flash out of Neo, which is important. So you do have Dragon in a couple of minutes. If they want to try to make a play, it's something that they can punish.
Plux, I don't know if you got to do that, man. Just make it one.
He's playing Derek.
Make
Leave
it
him
2
alone.
kills. It's all right.
Leave him alone.
Okay, it's fine. For LiT Esports, still a pretty decent game state as we look at the subway damage dealt last team fight. Neo still does not have that cash in, and you can see right now he's not doing a ton of damage in these
So
fights.
he has 460 stacks, 40 gold, 2.5 for every stack. That is, he is going to get like close to 1,000 as soon as he hits, but that is if, right? It's all predicated on him actually getting a kill, and not only that, that gold is not going to mean anything until he backs as well. So it has to be a pick before the Dragon for this Draven to be an influential member. He is now 2 items. He is matching Rockboom at this point, who individually, we haven't really talked about it, has fallen behind incredibly in the CS department as Neo level up 60 on his opponent, keeping himself in the game as well. Mirage Alliance are trying to make this defense, but they have a Ziggs. Very easy for LiT to actually start to siege onto this, so just letting this one cannon minion go, but I mean, the Ziggs just takes care of this. It's all eyes on Messages with this Azir.
2 more waves of the Baron buff. Messages doesn't have it because he died, but still able to split up and take that tier 2 turret, as now the rest of the attention for LiT will come down to this bottom lane tier 2. Mirage Alliance doing a good job clearing the wave. They want to make sure the gold lead does not expand too much.
Look where Messages is going. He's going to clear this top side of the map. This is something that we can see Mirage try to go for something, but it is just going to alleviate pressure. By the time that top wave crashes, they can have Sudsy or Alora move on over. You're already kind of seeing them start to make their trek into the top side jungle. LiT taking away all the camps that they can, suffocating Mirage onto the top side, getting rid of all of the tier 2s on the map. As Alora is still split pushing, doesn't have a wave quite yet, but does have teleport. Not a lot of flank wards.
It's still tense. I mean, Mirage Alliance, they're able to keep themselves alive for a while. The Ziggs wave clear is doing wonders right now. It was just, I think, 1 turret off of that Turo Baron buff. So LiT Esports have the gold around the same spot as they left it when they took that objective. And that means Mirage Alliance, they have more time to get another item onto Neo, to finish off that death cap for Sudsy. Maybe that is what's able to tip the scales in this game.
Oh, but you look across from him, Messages, 3 items, Sork Pen Boots already finished as well, so big spikes here for LiT. I mean, Rockboom is 300 gold away, basically, from picking up a Blade of the Ruin King as well. Big damage spikes here as Sudsy now finishes that death cap you were talking about. Neo, I mean, eyes on him to get that kill. Like, anytime a Draven's in the game, Draven, in almost Draven fashion, makes the game about himself. We haven't seen that so far, and for LiT, I mean, it's so tough as a Draven. Like, you're walking into potentially a Darius, an Azir as well. We'll finally grab this mid-tier 1. Get a little bit of objective bounties on their side. Dragon has spawned.
The Dragoon.
Dragoon is level 16 and in a nasty flank. The vision setup from LiT is so good.
They're gonna go. They're going right for it. They lock up 1 already. Chad is in so much trouble, and a Noxian Guillotine will execute the Poppy. Already a 1-for-0 in favor of LiT Esports. They have the Dragon available. Will they even go for it, or will they push for more?
They'll put them at Soul Point. Kisnos right now soloing it. They know not everybody needs to be here at this objective. So Vayne will clear out this bottom wave. They'll try to push for another tier 2. Top lane, just completely forgotten about at this point. Dragoon looking like he's going to recall, get some gold, and should head over here to fix this wave.
Oh, they want this
canceling
tower.
that. They want this turret. They want to try to grab this, get a recall in. Baron is spawning in a minute and a half.
Look at Dragoon over the wall. Yes, he's gonna make sure
wait a
Neo is
minute.
in a bit of trouble. The mob comes out. That's just has to dash away. Now Dragoon in a bit of trouble. He's singled
Neo,
out by
Neo.
Mirage Alliance. Neo, can he get the cash out? Not just yet. Dragoon almost has that flash available, and Neo will pick up the gold. Shut down onto 1, another one onto Messages, and now Rockboom has to run away as well. It is 2 kills, 2 big kills for Mirage Alliance.
And now Baron is spawning in 50. Let's see what Neo can do with this gold. He has finally cashed out an insane amount of gold for him. 1,400 from this 1 kill that he's gotten. He should be a full item ahead. He has now finished his Bloodthirster. Vayne is going to finish off the Blade of the Ruin King. You can see Neo has shot straight up to the top of that gold graph. Gold is only going to get more even, but we're getting more and more items for all of these champions. Mirage Alliance, this Baron feels like they're 1 comeback away. If they can grab this, they can set themselves up. They can even potentially deny a Dragon Soul from LiT.
I don't know. Basically tied in gold at this point. Mirage Alliance have a good chance of turning this game around now. Sudsy and Neo are at such strong item breakpoints. they almost can 2v5 a team fight themselves as long as they get a little bit of protection from Chad and Dardoch, and they've been doing that at this point. That's a tower going towards Sudsy. The Baron has spawned, and Mirage Alliance are fully stacked around the pit.
They said we don't need laning phase. Laning phase is cringe, okay? The first 10 minutes of the game, we don't care. You know, we may have made some mistakes. That's okay. And look at the vision from Mirage.
Oh, no.
Oh, messages.
He's in trouble. He gets stunned up. That's the bomb coming in as well. Neo picks up another kill. And LiT Esports is without a mid laner. A mistake that might cost them game number 1 as Mirage Alliance. They're headed on to the Baron. What can LiT Esports do? Dragoon looking for another flank. Rock Boom has to be huge. The new addition to this LiT Esports roster. Can it happen? Keeper's Verdict getting channeled. It knocks Plux away. The dredge line connects onto one. The Baron will go towards Mirage Alliance. And now they're going to continue the chase. Kisno has to use the ult defensively. And I don't think they're going to find any kills. Dragoon still in the wings. He has to be careful now as Mirage Alliance will go on the defensive and pick up another Turo Baron buff.
So, big kills, big picks coming out from Mirage, and finally now the gold swings in their favor. Turo Baron buff going over to them and comes off a single pick onto messages. Didn't use his flash, did not use any of his abilities to try to take, get away from that situation. That was something that we saw in the bottom lane fight there for LiT, even though they did get caught, even though Neo did pick up a kill. None of them use their summoner spells. They use some ultimates, which will come up before the next objective anyway. And I love that they're showing a little bit of hesitancy and some restraint for their summoner spells. But Soul's now spawning, 2 minutes. LiT, they can grab this. And I think the big question here is, do Mirage give that up? Use this time with the Baron to try to push out waves, use Ziggs, and more specifically, potentially play for an Elder Dragon. That is a big equalizer for both of these teams.
I mean, they have Baron buff for another minute and a half, and there's a Ziggs on their team. Mirage Alliance can maybe look to push into the enemy base at this point if LiT Esports is not careful. They're going on the aggressive now. Dragoon does not have the ghost, does not pop the summoner spell just yet, but watch messages playing very far forward in that mid lane, trying to clear that wave out, trying to deny any potential push from Mirage Alliance.
My mind's eye was already seeing the messages sweep of doom. He got the emotes ready as well, so he felt it. He's like, all right, fine, guys, we're not going to look for this. So, going to be saving that and a minute before that dragon. And Valorum now with this Baron should be a huge menace. We have seen him fall to Dragoon time and time again. We haven't really seen that interaction happen, at least in the last 10 to 15 minutes, so maybe there's something for them to do. He doesn't know. Chad doesn't know he's in here. The sun's going to land.
Connects. Chad is pretty tanky, but watch Neo actually. Rockboom has to catch him out. Flash away from the dredge line as Dardoch doing a good job to peel. Mirage Alliance are caught out. This could be a bad fight for them as LiT Esports have find the first kill onto Dardoch, and it will look to continue the chase. Neo has no summoner spells, no ult, and potentially no hope. Here comes the Stormbringer from Kisno, but Dragoon can't get it on just yet. Alorm doing a good job to peel, and now Chad has arrived to the fight. Messages trying to zone out, but that's 2 kills going over to Dragoon, and LiT Esports will turn it back right on its head. They go 3-0.
It's right before the Dragon. They got very little from that Baron buff on the side of Mirage Alliance. It was simply to keep them in the game. 1,500 gold is the gold you get for Baron buff, so consider this game even at that point in the gold advantage. You take a look at this again, Chad, just yet again, too far. People are not getting anywhere near. There's no Allure on flank as well. He's not finding that. Look at how far apart a lot of these fights are happening. It's a good find coming out from LiT to try to grab Dardoch and force summoners away from Neo. I just don't think that Mirage Alliance are allowed to get near this dragon. And yeah, again, like, look at where they're at. Cool, you landed it on Dragoon and Kisno, man.
Yeah, and Sudsy at this point doesn't have Mega Inferno Bomb, so can't even do anything unless he gets way too far forward. And it's just the main carries for Mirage that end up surviving that engage. In the picture-in-picture, LiT Esports have picked up the Cloud Soul. That is huge for players like Rockboom and Plux, who thrive off of that movement speed with the ultimates being cast. Now, the gold lead is still in favor of Mirage Alliance, but this game could get ugly real quick.
What an insane day of games already, right? Like, we thought coming in, we're taking a look at that subway damage dealt last team fight, like, it's so crazy to think that there is a world that we potentially live in that LiT could win and LiT could move on. It is only one game, and we could see how Mirage Alliance bounced back. We already started off with Winthrop smashing the living hell out of TA.
Yeah.
So anything could happen at this point, right? I think it's fair that TA were, kind of expected that fight. That match was supposed to be our closer one, and so far, LiT is already delivering.
I mean, all the players seem like they're on the same page finally after not having too much time to gel as they started off their run in the summer split. They don't have the Baron, they have the Soul though, and that means they can continue sieging onto these towers. Tier 2 in the top lane falls, and I think LiT are going to play the long game. They see that Baron spawning in a minute and 30 seconds. If they just don't get picked for that till then, they can force a fight around the objective and really take it home.
Look where Alorum is. He's pushing onto that bottom side. He's making sure that there's deep flanks, so he's making sure that LiT have to attend to this lane. He is one of the factors is keeping him in. We haven't seen too much of an influence here for Alorum, however, as he's been picked off time and time again. We've seen missed ultimates and maybe a not concise team fight from the side of Mirage Alliance. But he is providing pressure for them. He is getting so much damage onto the bottom side turret. And if there's any way that we see Mirage back in, it is off one of those picks. It is off of him doing a team fight. We see them. They've already set up this bottom side wave. You have the Ziggs that can end. And when we said, hey, you have 2 marksmen here on the side of Mirage Alliance, they will disintegrate turrets. They actually need to get to that point, especially now with a Baron in their back pocket. That could be what gives them that advantage.
It is interesting though, because while it does seem like LiT is in control for now, if Mirage win one fight, as you said, that Ziggs can end the game just like that. If you've been watching the Challengers League for a while, you've seen the APA ending the game without any minions or anything like that. This is a 4-item Ziggs. Very, very powerful. Alongside 2 other marksmen of its own, if you count the NACL. Like this game really is close. And even though LiT look like they're in control, it's just one mistake that can turn that game right back for Mirage Alliance.
The same could be said for LiT, right? Like, you have this Azir who's level 18, you have Vayne who's going to be able to do the same.
Oh, Dardoch.
The Baron, okay, Dragoon.
The Mirage Alliance support is caught out. Dardoch just goes down. Dragoon's on a killing spree, but now the Keeper's Verdict will make it a numbers advantage for Mirage for now. Teleport coming in. Message is looking to rejoin the fight, but Dragoon is just too big. He dunks him down for a double kill, and he's looking for more. It's a triple. It's a quadra. Give it to him. Dragoon smash! A pentakill for the LiT Esports top laner, as they will take game 1 of this series.
They say we don't care about your favorites, man. We're here to play. We're here to win. Supernova were not expected to make it into promotion. They did it. We saw that Dragoon interview. And it's just one game away for LiT so they can go on further into the upper bracket. Dragoon, in no other way, gets his Darius, and he shows up big.
Doesn't care about the counter matchup, doesn't care about the attention. He just does what he does on the champion. You do not give this man Darius for the rest of the promotion tournament. LiT Esports with the win.
What the hell, man? I love that. I love that we get to see Dragoon play to his strengths, play to what makes him such a strong player. And hey, we got to see all of LiT kind of step up in this first game. We need to see what Mirage Alliance can do to bounce back.
Oh my goodness. The underdogs, LiT Esports. They didn't even make the semifinals in the last tournament, and they just took a game off of our reigning champions, Mirage Alliance. Can the kings of the NACL bounce back? We will see. But before we jump into a break, have to give a great shout out to Turo, the world's largest car sharing marketplace, where you can book any car you want for just about any occasion. Forget about boring rental cars at Turo.com. We'll see you in a few.
Subway refreshed their ingredients, their menu, and now they're slicing their meats fresh. That's why their new Subway Series subs are preferred by this champ.
And his future champ.
Pros who are talking heads prefer fresh sliced turkey.
And pros who use their heads prefer fresh sliced ham.
More deli meats are preferred by this QB.
And preferred by his old backup QB.
And if we prefer it, we know you'll prefer it too. Is this slice as good as your tennis slice?
I can't answer that, but yes.